Ooh, so you'd have to start by searching Sumo Paint. It runs in the browser, so like I was saying, people were having trouble downloading Photoshop. It was crashing their computers. Yeah. But I think if it'll let me scroll down. I just want to click. Oops. Open. Open Sumo Paint. It'll give us a blank canvas to work with. Maybe I need to close out of all these extra tabs. But we can make a contour drawing of ourselves by snapping a selfie. Or I guess technically you could upload any picture you want. And then just upload it. But if you, take something really good. Ha ha ha, great big smile. Yeah, that's gonna make a great drawing. Then on Sumo Paint, you can open from your computer. And go to the pictures in your camera roll. Go down to that most recent one we just took. And open it. You can zoom in, zoom out a little bit, so it's about the size of your screen. And then to make this into a contour drawing, we just want to add a couple layers. So layers are basically like clear blank canvases that you can draw on or paint stuff to. And that image that we just opened from our computer is now like layer number 1. So when you go over to the toolbox on the right and you click the plus button, it'll add a layer. We want to add 2 layers because we're going to make one blank one in the middle and one for our drawing. And then each layer has this little eyeball next to it. You can click to view it or unview it. So as we get started, we could call this, we want to name our layers to keep them organized. Call this one our photo. This middle layer is just going to be, you can call it blank or you can call it, I'm going to call it the white EG. And then I want to click on that layer so that I'm working on it. And I want to go over to the toolbox on our left and pick this paint bucket tool and fill it with some white. But we don't need the white layer yet, so we'll hide that for now. And then we'll go to our third layer. And this is where we're going to do our drawing. So we can change that layer name to drawing. And then you can grab your pencil tool over here and go to town. Basically, you're just going to trace the contours. The only thing is we want our contour drawing to be black. So you can test it out in some of that area over there. That line's a little thick. And, so we want to change the diameter. On my math peeps, that's the distance from one edge of a circle through the center to the other edge of the circle. Just 1 pixel is good enough. And that should give you a line that's nice and thin. So then if you've got a touchscreen computer, I think pretty much everybody does, all the school laptops, this app is kind of fun because unlike Photoshop, you have to use your mouse or like a Wacom tablet, you can just draw right on your screen. And then start going over and tracing some of those contours. A tip for when you're working in like a digital drawing software is to stop and kind of lift your pencil or unclick, because if you make a mistake, you can edit undo, and then it'll get rid of any lines that you're like, oh yeah, those are really bad. But you can go in and just kind of trace. In this way, you can go right over the contours of your picture. Get some practice. Get the shape of your weird head. Oh, wait, my weird head. You guys probably have normal shaped heads. Can really get an appreciation for how crazy your hair is, or my hair is. Oh man, need to get some product. Got a lot of frizzy hair. But I don't want to make you guys sit here and watch me draw the whole time. But there's no way for me to speed this up in real time. I don't think it lets me fast forward Screencastify videos either. So I'll have to do a kind of sketchy job. Okay. I'll get most of the stuff. And I'll let whoever iPhone is into our meeting. Okay, so I think I got most of the lines. So then this is where that middle layer comes in handy. You click the eyeball. Ooh, okay. And you can see how your drawing is turning out. It looks like I could definitely use some more lines, and I can see I forgot to give myself an eyebrow there. Also, I don't have any lips. It's just like a weird, oops. Not zooming in on my whole entire window, but what I can do is just zoom in on a certain area, and then it gets a little bit easier. Can darken up and fix some of these lines. And then you can get some of, we might call them cross contours, the lines that show like the folds in the face. Oops, I don't want to zoom in too much. And then maybe get some of these lines. Okay. Oops, zoomed out way too much. Oh, There's also this, it looks like a D-pad, I guess, from like a video game controller. At least that's what I'd call it. But it lets you move your picture around. So you can zoom in, and then if you have to get to a certain part, you can move it around with this. If I hover over it, a pan tool is what they call it. Not a D-pad. And then you can get some more of these contour lines. Get the folds and creases. And get the collar. This whole area of that selfie that I took really quick is kind of washed out. So I guess that's hard to see. But you can still make out some of those lines. If I zoom in real close. And then, does anybody remember what the term for like the quality of the thickness or thinness of a line is? A line weight. So I'm gonna zoom out, can check this, how the drawing's looking. Could use some work. One thing you can do is change the line weight. So usually if you're drawing with like a pencil or a pen on paper, your line weight or the line quality is going to be affected by how hard you're pressing on the paper or how thick your tool is, whether it's like a fine tip Sharpie or a broad tip big fat zone marker. While you're using digital drawing, you just want to use the slider on that diameter of your brush or your pencil tool, whatever it is that you're using, and then you can kind of test it out there. So then, over some of these darker areas, you can use that wider pencil, and then you'll start to get darker line. Maybe for some of these really shadowy areas. Likewise, you can use the same color, same size brush and just go over the same lines. And that's going to darken them up too. I don't know how much better it's going to clean up those lines. If you made some really bad marks, I guess you could grab the eraser tool and erase some of it. Oops. And what's nifty is, since we're clicked onto this drawing layer, it's not going to erase any of the photo underneath it. The only way that happens is if you are accidentally clicked on it, and then if you start erasing, then you might be in trouble. But that's why you've got edit undo. As long as you're clicked on that drawing layer, you should be good. Admit. But that's about it. So if I was working on this, before I'd hand it in, I'd probably fix some of these lines. But since I'm Screencastify recording it, I'm just going to show you how to save it really quick. So you'd want to view all of your layers, and then you can see this contour drawing. And there's two ways to save this. Save to your computer, and it's going to save it as either a PNG, a JPEG, or a GIF. Either PNG or GIF, JPEG. Oops, either of those are okay, because that's going to save it as a picture where you can see the contour drawing. But if you're not done and you're like, oh crap, I got to get to my next class, but I want to work on this later, you either have to leave the tab open or you have to save project as a sumo file. There we go. So let's see, it's going to show us in our folder. And there it is. And you might want to rename it. Something that's searchable whenever you're saving files. That way, if you're going to find it later, I'm going to change that other one to contour drawing selfie. That way, say you go back to Sumo Paint to try and open it later. Like, oh man, where is that file that I was looking for? What was I working on? Oh yeah, contour drawing. Instead of having to find that like weird random assortment of numbers and letters, you'll just be able to search contour drawing in your files and it should come up. And I think I'll be able to show you why we have to use oh my, those two different file types. So let's see. Oops. Cool. So here's the PNG file. What that does though is flatten the image. So now when I reopen it, I don't have my layers with the original photo underneath. I've just got this flattened image of the line drawing and the white layer that was on top of it. So it takes everything that was in your layers and it flattens it down into one image. Granted, it's still a contour drawing. It's just not quite as finished as I would like it to be. I wanted to keep working on it. So, oops. I'm going to open from a Sumo file instead. Maybe, if it lets me click it. What? My computer might have froze there for a second. Okay. Let me try that again. There we go. So we'll try and open that Sumo file. You need a pro plan. Oh, come on. All right. Never mind. So it looks like if you're working on a project in Sumo Paint, yikes, you really only get that one sitting to do your drawing. Otherwise, you just have to leave the tab open. Because we tried saving that sumo file, but apparently it doesn't let you save them. Well, I got a few minutes here. So I guess, yes. Yeah, what's that one called? All right. I'll have to check that one out. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I was just I could probably just have you guys do it on Photoshop since we have Photoshop too. The only other thing I was gonna say was with this drawing, if you wanted to add some color to it at the end, you could do that. But depending on how long, it kind of took me about that whole 20-30 minute class period to do the drawing. But yeah, I mean, whatever is easiest for you. Not okay. Yeah, you could color in. Then the separate layers kind of work basically. It's like a coloring page. So then you're able to use these sliders. Yeah, black and brown, or black and orange kind of makes a brown color. Some hair. My hoodie's gray. Let's see. Geez, trying to knock this stuff out in 40 minutes. Here we go. This is some quality art we've got right here. Ideally, finish fixing up some of these really thin contours. Let's see if I can just fill in the background. We'll go with blue because, you know, cougars. Here you go. Beautiful. Nailed it. You don't really have to color it since it's just a contour drawing, but that would be it. I guess the last step would be, you know, save it to your computer as either PNG or JPEG. You can change the name of it here. Color. But yeah, we'll try that. I'll remind you guys